Hey everyone. I just wanted to say that the reason I haven't been around for a few days is because I've been really busy this week. You know, my cousins, twins actually came to stay over and they're both around 6 years old. And so I've been taking care of them for a few days. One day we went to the movies and, there were about a couple of days when they stayed over at our house. So, yeah, sorry about that. Um, oh, And I know I don't have a black shirt on this time. I don't always wear a black shirt. I mean, I'm not very restricted in that sense. But anyway, this week I thought I'd talk about the rest of how my week went so far. So, this week we discussed, or actually, we were assigned to turn our main assignment from last week into a portfolio piece. And this is just the rough draft. We're going to be revising it in a couple of weeks. So I'm wondering to see. I'm wanting to see what errors I just made. I actually just submitted my assignment in right now, and I actually want to see what errors I made to where I can improve. And lately, like I may have said before, I've had some trouble doing more than what I'm required to do, but Um, I actually met with one of my friends this week, and we discussed, how we, you know, processed, our how our writing process went through. I guess I can't think of the word exactly, but we discussed how we learn and how we write and how we're inspired and things like that. And part that's part of what inspired me to actually come up with my own creative ideas for a change. And one is to calm down. I worry so much that enough doesn't get done. And, well, I just want to just calm down, only worry enough to where it's on my mind and, it gets done. I've just had trouble with that lately. One of my problems is I stick to a behavior for a certain amount of time, then it goes away. So, trying to stick to that. But anyway, this week we basically discussed. It was basically, yeah, adapting our assignment from week 2 into a piece of flash fiction for our portfolio piece. Um, what we basically had to do was add a hook in with our opening line. Well, that's actually how to write. I guess I shouldn't spoil it, but I'd say it was a little bit of a challenge since it was only like up to 1,000 words max, and I had up to 700, so I kept it short and sweet, but very interesting. And I also followed the tips to a couple of with a couple on a couple of writing sites, so I followed the structure pretty well and added my own creativity. So I think you'll find it interesting. Well, those of you that see it, um, I'll post it if you want me to. We also this week we also had one where we had two choices. We could either write some dialogue where two characters are having a conversation and there has to be conflict, struggle, and resolution. And there's one where you branch dialogue in Excel, you know, whatever choices you make, with what the character says and does, it can affect the storyline. And I chose to write because, I mean, I'm just better at writing the conversation than the dialogue because, I don't know, I'm not really an RPG kind of guy. That stands for role playing game. And it was interesting. We basically had to the conversation could only have that I wrote. The conversation that I wrote had to only have um, quotes from the characters that led and the quotes that lead the story and with certain emotional points. And the only tags there could be attribution tags, and they could only say stuff like he said, or he shouted, or he replied, or he exclaimed, things like that. And it's been really interesting to see where that's gone for me. So I mean, I like where I've gone so far with it. Um, let's see. There was also a reading and analysis, and I also learned this week that characters are defined by four actions, which is image, well, by four things: image, actions, voice, and thought. And I may have said this before, but I kind of agree with that. Um, but I think that, like I said before, I think that characters' thoughts lead to them saying what they think, and then that goes towards their actions, and that basically altogether makes up their image. Their thoughts, voices, actions, and image. Well, they don't always lead up to each other, but they can. And the thoughts, voices, and actions can basically make a character's image. Of course, image can also mean, how a character looks, what t-shirts they're wearing. That can also define them. So basically, just you gotta look out for things like that. Facial expressions, um, body gestures, like arms and legs, those kind of gestures. And also, I actually read something from Battlestar Galactica about a character named Starbuck, and let's see. He had personality conflicts, and conflicts are basically what makes stories interesting. So, what Starbuck basically had conflict with himself was that, he was a very heroic person, but he basically was also a bad boy outside of where he worked. And, you know, the point of the reading and analysis was to see which parts of Starbucks contradicted with himself and how conflict can make a story interesting. So, again, I thought that was pretty interesting. So, I would say that a lot of people, have that kind of thing, where they have conflict and with themselves, and I don't know, conflict can make something interesting, but in real life, you don't always need conflict to make things interesting. You could be very peaceful and, you know, people could have successful lives, all around. It could still be interesting in real life, but, you know, in stories, I kind of agree that conflict, if there's none, a lot of stories serve no purpose. Maybe a short video, or a web video or something like that. It might, but other than that, I can't really see anything. Oh, by the way, I have a few ideas that I just thought of today, and because of meeting with my friend and being motivated by my classes, and I just remembered I need to get them down. And this blog has gone a little over 8 minutes, so and it's reaching the 9-minute mark. So I will see you all next time. Just let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and you have a good day.